Fox 23 is hearing from more families claiming the Oklahoma Department of Human Services is lying about crimes against children in our state. Thanks so much for joining us at 10. I'm Shay Rozzi.
And I'm Sarah Whaley. More than a dozen families, activists, and attorneys are supporting state lawmakers who are pushing for an investigation into the department. Fox 23's Devin Lyon heard from two of those parents. They say DHS is doing more harm to families than good.
And has the DHS lied to you?
Multiple times.
When it comes to crimes against children in Oklahoma, do you believe DHS is lying?
Absolutely. DHS knows there's crimes against children.
Two of the more than a dozen people who spoke before a state house committee on Monday told me they're calling for major change at the State Department of Human Services. They claim DHS has not only ignored abuse claims, but also lied about them to families and law enforcement.
5 years. DHS lied about what my kid had said.
Daryl Doherty says for years he sought justice for his child who was allegedly abused by their mother.
Have they threatened you?
I've been threatened by at least 5 different DHS workers, all of it's recorded. The supervisor of this caseworker called me in a 3-way call and they threatened me. If I didn't stop advocating for my kid, they'd turn me in for a felony.
He claims DHS heard the abuse claims from his child and even heard a confession from the alleged abuser, but still did not notify any law enforcement.
They said he didn't say these things. They said he wasn't asking for help from these things. They said he was a liar. My kid was asking for help and they called him a liar. That meant they immediately failed my child.
Who failed your child?
DHS stole my child's right to be protected by the police because police weren't involved.
Daryl shared with me years worth of court documents, emails, and even letters from county judges and state representatives. He says it's all evidence if the state opens an investigation.
It shows a pattern of them inputting fraud and perjury into court that nobody can refute because the courts and the judges just take it as truth.
Mandy Reed is another parent who testified before the State House Committee. She also is an activist with Oklahomans for Children's Rights.
I would say that DHS does more harm than good, honestly, at this point. I think we have to have a major overhaul with DHS.
She says she has personally seen abuse take place and DHS lie about it or even ignore it.
They know that there's other crimes happening right then in the moment while they're in the case, and they do not contact law enforcement. I know this for a fact. I've witnessed it. I've experienced it. I've sat across the table from workers when they told me that they knew this was happening and they did nothing.
The House Committee hopes to send the signed order to the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation on Monday to have them open an investigation into DHS.
And here's the hard question. What if it doesn't happen?
Well, we're parents. And it doesn't matter what a judge says. It doesn't matter what DHS says. It doesn't matter what a governor says. It doesn't matter what the Supreme Court says. If you're bringing injustice to my child, I'm still coming to protect my child.
Covering news that matters, Devin Lyon, Fox 23 News.
We have reached out to DHS for comment and also for an interview with their new director about these claims.
They send us an updated statement today saying in part, quote, child welfare cases are confidential by state and federal statutes. When there is suspected abuse or neglect, Child Welfare Services investigates and assesses the circumstances to ensure the safety of the child involved.
They continue, every child welfare case is different, and the specific details in those cases impact decisions made by the agency, courts, district attorneys, and others who participate in any case. You can read their full statement on fox23.com.